All right, folks, thank you again. It's kind of always like this during budget time where we're having to meet a little bit more often. Good evening, everybody, and the folks that have joined us remotely and folks that have called in and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go ahead and call this special Aztec City Commission meeting for June 1st officially to order. This evening, Mayor Pro Tem has the invocation duties for us, and Commissioner Lewis, would you mind leading us in the pledges, please? So with that said, Senator Fry, I don't know if you want us to stand or however you want to do this, so I'll turn it over to you.
Whatever's comfortable. I'm going to sit here.
Okay.
Okay. I know during these difficult times in which we're facing this pandemic, those economic challenges, and the social unrest in our country, that many of us reach out to a higher power for strength and wisdom in making decisions for our families and our community. The words I share today touched me, and I hope others might gain inspiration from these thoughts. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness in the world. All things break, and all things can be mended. Not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go, love intentionally and unconditionally. The broken world waits in darkness for the light that is you. May each of us allow our decisions this day and every day to reflect intentions that will comfort and support our community. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Which is stand
under God, liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag
so, and to see a simple, perfect friendship among our cultures.
Thanks, folks. Pretty quick and down to the point here, so we're just going to go ahead to the roll call next, please, Carla.
Mayor Snover,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Fry,
Here.
Commissioner Padilla,
here.
Commissioner Randall,
Here.
Commissioner Lewis,
Here.
all present.
All right, thank you. I'm not exactly sure. Someone stop me if I'm doing this wrong, but I'm not going to do the, I guess, I'm just going to ask for a motion to approve the agenda as given, because we don't really have the luxury of doing these things tonight because they're sensitive. So we can have if anybody has a comment or discussion about that, but otherwise I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion to approve tonight's agenda as given.
Mayor, I move to approve this evening's agenda as given.
Second.
We have in a couple of seconds there. I'll let Carlos sort that out. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Move right into business items. We have business item A, approval of preliminary fiscal year 2021 budget. I'm not sure if we're going to jump into that. Mr. Mueller?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Commission. What we have got in front of us tonight is the preliminary budget. We have had a number of budget discussions over the last couple of weeks. So that information has been out there for a while. We have had one addition as of this past Friday that is dealing with the Northwest New Mexico seniors and a process that's in the developing stages now, if you will. Kathy has added some numbers that will impact the city budget moving into FY21 potentially. And I will give it to Kathy at this point to cover that information. Then once we get done with that, we can stand for any questions or comments that y'all have on the budget in general, in preparation to submit the preliminary later on today, potentially after the commission meeting. So with that, I'll turn it over to Kathy.
Okay, can you all hear me okay? Okay. So the information that I provided to you on Friday was the addition of what may happen with the senior food program with Northwest New Mexico seniors backing away from that administrative and fiscal role. And it appears at this point that it'll be City of Farmington that's taking on at least the fiscal portion of the program. So we just have very basic information at this point. And my concern was that because July 1st happens in the middle of the week, it doesn't happen on a weekend or anything like that. We need to make sure that we have a budget in place so that the program continues seamlessly for our seniors. We can figure out the details, but I just wanted to have some budget in place so that we could continue the program. So again, very basic information is just providing for salaries for 2 drivers and a KitchenAid or a center aid that may float in various positions as is necessary. The budget's developed with the city purchasing the food and any supplies associated with that. That may, as this next few weeks, as we progress in developing how this is actually gonna look, Farmington may actually take the lead on the purchasing of food, and so that piece of it would come out of the final budget. But at this point, those are the items that have been added into what we refer to as Fund 218, which is an intergovernmental grants fund. And the expenditures that have been added to the budget are offset by an equal amount of revenue, either through reimbursement through Farmington and through the state for the costs incurred, plus then the portion of the meals that are paid for those that are participating in the program or donations that are received specific to the meal program. So it's a net zero increase to the budget. That's the intent of it. But again, it was just to get something in there. So come July 1st, we could continue with the program in some form or fashion. With that, at this time, the way our program is set up with Northwest, they do reimburse us for some of the fuel and the vehicle costs associated with the transportation with the meal deliveries and such. I don't know what that's going to look like with this new program. So I've left those costs over on the general fund side, but I did pull the reimbursement portion because I really don't know what's going to look like with this one. So it resulted in a decrease of $5,000 in the general fund revenue. So there was just a minor decrease in the cash reserve for the ending of FY21. Basically, those are the only changes that I have made to the budget from our last workshop. And so I think it's, rather than me going through and reading parts of the budget book to you and such, I think maybe we just want to open this up for questions or comments.
Yeah, you took the thoughts right out of my brain. So thank you, and thanks for the addition. And kind of thinking, about the seamlessness of it. It'd be awful if we, just because it's been a slight oversight, that there was a gap in being able to feed folks. Mm-hmm. So especially now. I mean, it's always important, but especially now. So my thoughts are kind of exactly what you said is, and kind of referring back to some things that Commissioner Randall had mentioned and the rest of us sort of echoed as far as, one, we got to get this thing submitted. And 2, if there are some kind of push and pull things that we end up finding, that we have time to do that. But I don't personally see, from my own perspective, anything glaring that I think we need to kind of roll up our sleeves and hammer out this evening, but others might have a different point of view and they may have questions or comments. But yeah, I would like to open it up for any questions or comments. And if there's not anything major, we could probably keep it relatively, brief and to the point, and give Kathy the time that she needs to get this thing submitted and wrapped up this evening. So with that, thank you, folks.
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
On page 4, under personnel, on the bottom paragraph, the second line on that bottom paragraph, it says that are not budgeted to be in place until January 2020. Is that a typographical?
Yes, sir, 2021.
I figured it was, but I didn't know if that's part of the submission that it needs to be corrected.
Actually, this book is just for our use. This whole
Okay.
thing it just stays internally, so I'll fix my typo and,
Okay, I didn't know if you had changed something, Kathy, or not, but, and I have one final comment. I spent a lot of years looking at budgets through the years, and this detailed book is so informational that I am so proud of what our city staff does. I mean, I have spent 3 days going through it. It is super. And my hat's off to you guys again. Other than the one comment you and I had, Kathy, earlier, pass it on to your staff. I'm very proud of what you guys have done.
thank you, I absolutely will. Because it's definitely a team effort, but it's just not our staff. I mean, it's the entire, all of the city departments working together and pulling the information together.
I understand that, and the whole team did a wonderful job from top to bottom. And I would throw this analysis or this description book or this detailed book against any city in the state of New Mexico, because this has all the questions and all the answers. And I love that, looking at budgets. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything they would like to add to the discussion about the preliminary approval of 2021's budget?
Just a comment about, I think the narrative is extremely helpful in the budget book, because that's a lot of numbers. So the narrative really helped me put the picture together, and appreciate the way it's written and very, very clarifying. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy, it was very readable. Thank you very much. That the narrative did really help me too. I'm not a numbers guy, so.
Right. Well, and any suggestions? I mean, this is a document that each year we want it to be a useful document. So any suggestions, any gaps, please just let us know so that we can continue to improve it.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
the best I would have is figure out a way to increase revenues.
There you go.
Not the only suggestion.
So for next year, work on that, Kathy. And otherwise, I think we're in pretty good shape. I mean, considering the circumstance we find ourselves in. And that's a credit to, the basically keep pretty close to the vest all this time, So while we're definitely gonna take a little bit of a hit, obviously, it could be much worse. Which, I mean, that still doesn't make it better. It doesn't make the empty positions full. But, I think once again, we're gonna get through this maybe a little less bruised up than some of our neighbors. So, that's definitely appreciated. And those are things that we don't really think about, and especially when people are complaining about wanting a new piece of equipment or whatever, or filling a spot. Now's the time when that kind of, that fiscal conservatism is paying off for the city. So, thanks again. And seeing no other, I'll go ahead and, does anybody have anything else they'd like to add on the commission or Mr. Bueller? I would entertain a motion for business item A.
Mayor, to approve the submittal of the fiscal year 2021 preliminary operating budget to the New Mexico Department of Finance, Local Government Division.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Carla, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Snover,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fry,
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis,
Aye.
Commissioner Randall,
Aye.
Commissioner Padilla.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. Now to business item B, temporary use permit for outdoor and patio service for restaurants and sign requirements for businesses. Mr. Mueller.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Commission, thank you. What the staff is looking to do with this temporary use permit is assist the local businesses, restaurants in any way possible during this current economic crisis time to think outside the box, use some existing public space that might be close proximity to their business, temporarily relax some of the sign codes that are in place, just to assist any way we can in getting these businesses back on their feet and doing what they can for not only for the business itself, but for the citizens of Aztec as well. I will make note down there at the bottom, it says of the project description that the duration for the process is from June 1st to December 31st, 2020. And in talking to the staff, what we had discussed was extending that to January 5th, 2021 to potentially include the New Year's timeframe as well. So that didn't get reflected on the current summary, but we would want to amend that as well to include January 5th. Steven Saavedra is on the line as well. He might have some input that I've missed, but as a whole, we're just looking to help out the local businesses and restaurants any way we can throughout this current crisis. So I'll stand for questions.
Please, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, Mr. Saavedra, I saw you unmute there. Go ahead. Thank you, Mr. Mueller.
Yeah. I don't have anything more to add to what Mr. Mueller had stated. I would just wanted to point out as we look at our downtown, we know, especially restaurants are faced with the capacity limitations and they don't have the space or the luxury to operate as they once did. But as we look to the future, town, we want to see tables outside. We want to see more activity outside. A good sign of a downtown is how many people you see as opposed to how many cars pass by.
And if I could, yeah.
Mr. Rick, could you hear me?
Yeah, I heard the last part. You broke up a little bit, but we got, I think everybody kind of got the gist of what you were saying. There was a little bit of a lag or time there, something in there, but yeah, I mean, I think this as, trying to kind of against my nature be a glass half full as opposed to half empty, like I generally think, is that, think about the potential opportunity that we have here as we're coming out of some of these restrictions, and we're trying to do a little bit of a kickstart and maybe a sort of, what the future could potentially look like here in Aztec with a little bit more vibrant downtown. We have some cafe dining kind of stuff. We have the pianos out. How cool would it be to go by Rubio's and be having a chimichanga or something and having somebody wailing away on the piano singing some Jerry Lee Lewis or something. I think that would be pretty awesome in July in Aztec, as opposed to, the crickets that we often hear after 5 o'clock down here. And I don't know. It may not take off, but who knows? This might be just a little bit of a toehold that some of these folks are looking for to see what our potential could be, and it might pick up some momentum. So I think it's a good idea to at least try it out and see how. And this is an opportunity to give businesses a chance to reinvent themselves a little bit, incorporate some of our downtown area outside. So that's my comment on it. I think it's a good idea. So whoever dreamt that up and threw it in there and discussed it, kudos to them and to the staff for developing this.
Mayor, I'd like to make a comment. I'm totally in support of this. I think the businesses, anything they can do to increase their capacity and be outdoors will be beneficial health-wise to customers and beneficial to the businesses. I think it's a great idea. And other cities in New Mexico are doing this. Some of them are even considering blocking streets. I know we don't have control over 550 to do such a thing, but anything that we can do that will help is a great idea. So I'm all for it.
Mr. Mayor, I would add just my 2 cents on it there. This could be kind of sort of the silver lining, if there is such a thing to this. It may be a new way for us to invent ourselves and give it a kickstart, but also be able to kind of rebuild and renew, make a new Aztec down the road with, curbside dining or whatever we have, cafes on the street or in the open spaces. I think it would be a great boon to the people who are wanting to come here and dine and get a night out.
Would anybody else like to add to those comments? I will go ahead and close item B to discussion and entertain a motion for business item B, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Snover,
go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor Pro Tem, yes?
I move to approve the temporary use permit for outdoor and patio service for restaurants and sign requirements for businesses.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Carl, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Snover,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fry,
Aye.
Commissioner Padilla,
Aye.
Commissioner Randall,
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and folks that have tuned in, that is there's no reports on the agenda this time because it's a special meeting, but we have our regularly scheduled meeting next Tuesday. So thank you, everybody, and meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Thank you. Hey, Carla,
Yes.
do I need to come down and sign? Is there anything that needs signed for, for submission of the budget or anything like that that I need to do tonight?
I don't have anything.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.
Can you take it off the board?
He's got it.
It still says it's recording.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
Now turn that sucker off. Thank you.
Okay.
Paranoid about that stuff. Well,